Hello, this is Kerwin, and welcome to another episode of Travel Talk. And today we're going to be talking about, can I bring a pet on my airplane? Let's go. So, to answer that question bluntly, leave the pet at home. It is very stressful for an animal to travel. I used to work on the ramp. I worked on and I worked in the airport when I first started, and I've flown 192 airlines now, and it is very stressful for the animal on the airplane. Uh, I've seen animals crapped in the airport, and the owner didn't even clean up behind the animal. And so it gets a little stressful for everyone. And so my recommendation, if you can avoid it, is not just go pay for a kennel or something and leave the animal with a family member, or get somebody to take your animal while you're away. Now, if you cannot, there are different things that you can do. First, it actually depends on your airline. Some airlines do not take pets. So you need to make sure you check with the airline to see if you take a pet. Because a lot of people have been breaking the rules about pets. They have specific rules now about the animals you can bring on the plane. Because people used to bring all kinds of animals on. I think somebody had a peacock in New Jersey once, and there's some other large animal that somebody had and said it was their pet. Or what, it's because the airline have changed the rules to say it's your comfort animal. People are saying it's their comfort animal. In order for it to be a comfort animal, you have to have documentation that it is a comfort animal. Now, people who need an animal to help them, let's say you're blind and you need an animal, a dog or something to lead you around, then usually they have like a little thing and it says guide dog on it or something like that. And those you can actually keep in the cabin, and you don't need to put them in a kennel or anything like that. But typically, any other animal you have to put in your kennel. Now, people say it's a comfort animal, and so because it's a comfort animal, they want to keep them in their hands. Um, I I'm just thinking of what to say, because you really need to be careful with the animals on the airplanes, because sometimes they get scared and they crap. And also, you do have to remember that there might be other people on the airplane who are allergic to animal hair, or just allergic to animals in essence, and so that won't work for them. So it's not just about you and the animal that you're taking with you. It is about the rest of the people who are on the airplane as well. And so you really need to think about, do I really need to take my animal with me? The guide dogs are trained, and so they know, when they're on the airplane, no crapping or anything like that, and they will take care of their owners when they're on the airplane, and they will sit there and behave. Some animals won't do that. Also, the airline gives you pretty much strict rules about how you can take the animal on the plane. One of them is you're supposed to stay in the container that they're in throughout the flight. They also need to be able to move around in the container that they're in. So which means you can't bring a really big dog, because then it won't be able to fit in the container. And that container must fit under the seat in front of you. I've seen lots of people who don't do that. I've actually been on a flight where the guy next to me was telling the guy, I was at the aisle, this guy was in the middle. The dog was at the window. I was at the aisle, and he was as a passenger in the middle. And he's telling the guy in the middle that the dog is not a comfort animal. He's like, yeah, I just told the airline it's a comfort animal because I didn't want to pay for it. And what he was doing was bringing the dog to see his mother. And I forget where it was. So he was blatantly breaking the rule, and he was blatantly telling the passenger next to him. I'm like, if you're going to break the rules, shut up. But apparently he doesn't think so. So he feels that he was doing something great. So just unless you have to, just don't do it in the cabin. Now you can take an animal in the hold, and there are also specific instructions about taking an animal in the hold as well. The airlines go through, some of them have a separate pet department that will take care of the animals. So they'll bring the animals to the airplane only when it's ready to go, because sometimes it's really hot outside or it's really cold outside, and they don't want anything to happen to the animal, and then they bring the animal out. Sometimes the animal may die within while being transported, and then the airline has facilities to take care if that happens. Sometimes it's just a shock of the transport that may cause that, but who knows, right? So if you don't have to carry the animal, don't do that. It is very stressful for the animal itself. And it's also stressful for you because you're worried about the animal the whole time. And I know that some people treat their animals as their children, but not everybody likes animals. Not everyone can take the, so like I said, something might be allergic. So bear that kind of stuff in mind when you're taking your animal. When you do take the animal, you're supposed to keep them on a lead at all times when they're outside of the cage. And you're actually, in some places, you're not allowed to take them out of the cage, out of the carrying case at all. And some airports do have places that you can go to have the animal, they call it animal relief areas. So they do have some of those. So if you have to use one of those, but one of those before the flight, please do. I was on a flight and I saw this girl come on and she had a comfort animal, and the little dog was shaking. That is not a comfort animal. If the dog is more scared than you, it is not a comfort animal. So don't fool yourselves, people. I know you're trying to get away from paying $100 or $150 or whatever the charge is per trip for the animal, but don't do it. It's why some airlines just said no animals, right? And you can't take an animal on board because they don't have any facility for it. They just don't take them. So first you need to make sure the airline takes the animal, read whatever they tell you to do the animals with. That doesn't make sense. Do whatever they tell you how to handle the animals, like got to make sure they're fed before the flight, got to make sure they have enough water, and all the different ways. Some places you go to, you have to get the animal quarantined. So yeah, you have to have a health certificate. Make sure the animals have all their vaccinations and everything like that. So there are some things that you have to do before you take the animals. Every airline is different. So just check with the airline, check on their website, or call them and say, hey, I have an animal, I'm going from here to here, and here's what I need to do. If you're doing a connecting flight, sometimes you may not be able to take an animal on a connecting flight, but that's the kind of stuff that you need to check. The airlines will tell you what the rules are. And I hope that helps, but if you don't have to take the animal with you, please don't. It is very stressful for the animals. And as an animal owner, you probably don't want that for your animal in the first place, right? You don't want the stress thing to go, the animal to be stressed out. So anyway, this is Kerwin with Travel Talk, and that's all I got. Have a great trip. Talk to you soon.